Serious is a person with a micropenis morally obligated to tell their potential sex partners beforehand that they have a micropenis. Why? I don't think it would be wise to announce it on the first date, but it would make the eventual sex a lot easier if you talk about it beforehand and what you do to make her come anyway. Turn a negative into a positive. You're communicative, open, and have the fastest hands in the West. Tough. I knew a guy with this. Resulted in suicide. I'm sad to say. Great guy all around but couldn't get a partner, and those who saw made fun of him. In my opinion, probably shouldn't mention it on the first date. Get your partner to know you and love you for you, then dive down that rabbit hole. Probably a good idea to avoid embarrassment, but I wouldn't say morally obligated. As someone with a micropenis 3 or under, I believe it is important to get it out there early on for a couple of reasons. You save yourself and the other person's time. Not everyone is okay with small penises, which is okay. However, if you hide it and wait a couple months later to say anything about it, you've now set yourself up to be hurt, ridiculed, slandered and broken up with, and have effectively wasted your time and the other person's. The opposite is also true. The person you tell may not even care about your penis size and could possibly find yourself in a very awesome relationship. At the end of the day, for those with micropenis like me, it's important to take care of your mental health and realize that some will care and others won't. Yes, size matters, but it's also more complex than that. When you hide it, you set yourself up to be scarred and anxious, wondering if they'll care. When you're upfront with it, not only are you taking care of yourself, but also I think giving the other person a leg up to decide if they'll be okay with accepting it. For us guys, it's something that really sucks to say. It does. But it's the road we have to walk, unfortunately. To get to a point like this isn't easy. Find some friends you trust deeply and tell them. Let them know how it hurts and how it makes you feel. It was a lot of pain, tears, sometimes thoughts of suicide to get to where I am today. This world can be cruel, mean, and most people, even those who say it's okay, can and will laugh at small penis jokes, comments, or what have you. Even I still have struggles. Realize that not everyone will understand. It's about trying to be okay with yourself and yourself only. Finding someone who is okay with a small penis is awesome and always refreshing to find. But the first person who has to at least try to be okay with it is yourself. That's easier said than done, but you can do it. It might be best to tell them before having sex, not on the dates beforehand. It just seems like the right thing to do. There was post a while ago in our relationships where the most extreme version of this happened to the op. The guy said he was religious and wanted to wait until marriage to have sex, show her his penis, which op respected because he was a great partner otherwise. The wedding night comes and op learns her new husband has a micro penis, like less than 2 inches when fully erect, and was using abstinence until marriage to avoid telling her. I'm not micro by definition, but I'm quite small, and I mentioned that fact on Grindr. 2 things. 1. It protects me from an embarrassing rejection in the event it's a deal breaker. 2. Some guys, God bless them, are really into that. I've dated someone with a micropenis. He told me before we had sex and I appreciated it just for the warning. It can be a little jarring to see. I wouldn't say morally obligated, but it might be a good idea to let partners know, that way they don't react badly. Yes, we did broke up, but it had nothing to do with his penis. At least not directly. He was insecure and an asshole. Erect, it was about the size of a pinky but a bit more girth. Our sex life wasn't awful, but he did lack technique. It didn't have to do with the size of his dick. He was a virgin, so on top of having a micropenis he had 0 technique. We did date for a year though, so obviously I didn't hate it. I'm a grower, not a shower. I'm in a weird area where when I'm flaccid it's really small, like an inch or 2. But when I get aroused it grows to a normal size. But I do have problems, especially when it comes to cuddling and letting my SO touch me down there. I don't really allow them to touch me unless I'm already hard, or if I cuddle with them, I cuddle with them with my whole lower body nowhere near them, which really isn't cuddling. Sex is pretty much normal in terms of being able to get hard and lasting long enough to make sure everyone involved has climaxed. Would be nice just to be able to wipe it out without having to get really aroused or hard, without having to explain why it's so small when I'm not horny. If they've seen how big it gets, don't worry about it afterwards. They already know. I love growers. They're fun. It's like the best magic trick, how you can feel it get bigger and harder in your hand. I'd be so sad if my SO took that away from me. I had a tiny penis sprung on me twice when I was between 18 to 20. I was very inexperienced and so not someone who confronts people or mentions when I'm uncomfortable, still am the latter, so I just went with it both times. The one thing I noticed is that they both were able to come multiple times. Quickly. Both were great guys but both had baby mama issues I wasn't ready for. I've had a micro penis sprung on me with no warning. He made it work. For y'all that need to know, foreplay is king in that kind of situation. I don't need sleep. I need answers. You don't even need a penis to please a woman. Lesbians do it all the time. A friend of mine. She slept with a guy with a micro penis. She said she had no idea until it was time to get it on. He popped out his button. She said it looked like a button on a jacket. Or an Audi in the belly button world. She said she still let him put it in her. She said she didn't feel a thing. He came and then she left. Offer he popped it in. She said it got awkward. Neither one said a word during or after. And still haven't spoken to each other since. This both makes me extremely relieved that I have just a normal dong, but really sad for him and guys like that. Sheesh. That shit has to be awful. I've been with two guys who had a micropenis. One who told me beforehand and the other who didn't. I don't think there's a moral obligation, but I do feel it's better knowing what to expect sexually in general. Before getting to the moment, this goes both ways. One guy joked about his size, etc., and did it in a way where he'd slip in a more serious comment to where I knew to expect a significantly below average penis. He was really cool and we had good chemistry. So I was down to discuss our sexual interests and needs. And it was really fun regardless, as we shared a lot of kinks. The second person didn't tell me, so I had different expectations going in. I don't know if he didn't tell me on purpose, but we didn't really talk about what we were into. Wanted. There was also a lot of alcohol involved in this one, so I was surprised. We had a good time, but it threw me off because it does change while we were doing. My favorite positions wouldn't really work, so we had to pause and have a quick discussion. I also wasn't sure the condoms I had would fit, but thankfully he had some too. Regardless, I don't think there's a moral obligation to share that information, but I think there's a practical reason to. And if size a deal breaker to your partner, it's better to know sooner rather than later. I never really gave the whole small penis thing a second thought before I had my second son. I am happy with what I have and so have my partners. My first son is young but seemed to be fine enough to never think about it. Then my second son was born with Prader-Willi syndrome. One of the symptoms is hypogonadism, which basically means he has a micro penis. Trust me, it feels as weird as it sounds to worry about your newborn baby's sex life. I have heard the jokes all my life and never really considered how mean they are until now. No matter how good of a man my son becomes, it seems that if you have a small penis in this world that you're a joke. And that breaks my heart. Even knowing that the average woman really only likes average size men. This won't help someone that suffers from hypogonadism. Just as if you are trans or gay or straight, your genitalia does not define you as a person. I hope my son and others like him find someone who loves who they are. It's a cruel world and I'm sure they're going to hard moment. But it's a big and kinky work too, and there is someone for everyone out there.